Birching may have gone from UK courts, but in the Isle of Man, its use for young offenders increased in the 60s. Many on the mainland looked on with envy.
The Isle of Man is the last place in Europe which allows corporal punishment by the state. The last place where a policeman can cane a child of 8 or birch a boy of 14.
And the reason that birching was retained in the Isle of Man was the Isle of Man wanted to maintain its distinctive image of itself. Small towns, small communities, offenders come from the outside. It was a very big holiday resort until quite modern times. Such disorder as there was came from those ruffians in Liverpool and Merseyside who descended on the island and misbehaved.
The majority of Manxmen support the laws on corporal punishment because they fear that the tourists who treble the population during attractions like the TT races bring hooliganism with them. They see Britain, which they call the adjacent island, as a thug-ridden country where no one is safe to walk the streets at night. They think the birch helps to preserve the Isle of Man as a safe and civilized haven, and the birching issue is just part of their bid to run the island the way they want, without any interference from Britain.
I think people do see it as a feature. I think when I've been across on many occasions, one of the first things people greet me with, "Oh, you live in the Isle of Man. You've got the birch. You're one of the few civilized places that are left."
But by the late 1970s, the tide was turning against the Isle of Man, at least in Europe. The European Court of Human Rights was to pass judgment on the birching of a boy for assault. The Manx people took to the streets to defend the birch.
The big political story comes to a climax tomorrow in Strasbourg, where the Manx birching laws go on trial before the European Court of Human Rights. On the outcome of this depends future relations between the Manx and British governments.
Do you think it's a civilizing thing that you have corporal punishment, that you inflict pain on other human beings? Do you think that's civilized?
It's very deserved punishment, and I think it's an excellent idea, and I think the removal of it will be absolutely disastrous. Turn round, Rita. Sorry, yes, I did. Do you feel that? No, go on. Of course you don't. No. I mean, there's nothing. I don't know what all the fuss and bother's about.
This is over in a few seconds, and it's a salutary lesson. It's a short, sharp lesson instead of a short, sharp prison sentence, which is costing the country so much money. The prisons are overflowing in Britain.